And welcome to another edition of Open Mic Wrestling Night here live on twitch.tv/Calypso426. And if you are not listening to this show live on the 14th day of March 2019, it is 8:06 p.m. Eastern Time as we are live on the air again, twitch.tv/Calypso426. And if you are listening on the replay by way of Fill in the Void Podcast Network, Spreaker.com/filling_the_void, which is also then you can hear the show on platforms such as iHeartRadio, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, all the other listening platforms to listen to your favorite podcast. And let's go live here now, shall we? Alright, another day with the lights. These are blinding a little bit. It didn't make a difference. Anyway, I had my hat. I mean, in the spirit of NFL free agency, where teams like the Cleveland Browns can get all the players, and the Jets apparently, and the Lions apparently, and the Ravens, but nah, Panthers have only made a couple of moves. They suck. And I don't feel bad for the Giants fans at all. Be that as it may, I'm so sorry that I had to break the news to you that way. Anyway, welcome to the show. Once again, in just under a half hour, I will be joined by Zack Heydorn of PWTorch. We will be talking about a variety of topics here on the show, and I'm looking forward to having Zack's perspective on a couple of these topics. Some of them in which I have gotten into it with other guests in the past. Such as, tag team wrestling and things with women's wrestling and all the like. I've gotten into it plenty with them. Man, my hair looks like shit. I had no time to really do anything. Sorry. Anyway, so he'll be joining at 8:30. I'm looking forward to talking to him. And it's been kind of a slow week in wrestling news, other than just basically discuss what happened on the shows, meaning Raw, SmackDown, NXT, which, to be quite honest, I fell asleep halfway through Raw. Actually, even less. I think I fell asleep an hour into Raw, and it's not that the show was boring, just, the week that was, I'm exhausted. And all I know is I missed a great main event, and I missed a awkward promo, which I both wound up watching later, between Batista and Triple H. And all I have to really take away from Raw is that, well, first of all, Fastlane was just not good. I didn't really enjoy too much of it. My biggest takeaways of Raw and SmackDown this week are, I hope Aleister Black and Ricochet are at least being compensated properly for working both shows now for what seems like the foreseeable future. Cheers, by the way. For the foreseeable future. And now, if you watch NXT, not only did they get a tag team championship match at the pay-per-view, but they also got a tag team. They're in the running. They're in the finals now, the Dusty Classic, to be next to challenge the War Raiders for the NXT Tag Team Championships. And either team, whether it be the Forgotten Sons or Ricochet and Aleister against War Raiders, would be good. I would honestly like to see the Forgotten Sons more, considering Black and Ricochet are practically WWE talents right now. I don't know how long that's going to continue. I don't know if this is a permanent thing, if it's a temporary thing, whatever the case may be, but they are there. I'm stoked that Samoa Joe is the United States champion. I'm stoked that they had that match at Fastlane instead of stupid things on the pre-show. Because I remember even making my predictions, which I did horribly on as well, by the way, that I'm horrible at predicting these things. I'm horrible at pay-per-view predictions. And one thing that I was screaming at was that Andrade Cien Almas and Rey Mysterio really should have gotten a better deal than just working on the pre-show. And they did. But, you know, they then worked for the United States Championship match, and you have Samoa Joe winning that contest. So, I don't know. I'm going to be honest. I don't know whether or not it's actually been better or worse since Bruce Pritchard has been taking over as Vince's right-hand man, if you will. Because while you do get some signs of sheer brilliance, as you would with Drew McIntyre, and let's talk about this too. I want to touch on this really quick. That promo between AJ Styles and Randy Orton was awesome. And that's a match that I've been dying to see ever since Styles has gone to the WWE. I think the way that Orton works, even at his age now, he's one of the best out there, period. Whether he was trained in WWE's system and didn't really have to work the indies or not. He's still one of the best performers that WWE has. And it's it's nice to finally see that Styles is going to get that rub. Not that he needs it, but it's a match that I feel needed to happen. Because, I mean, why not? The promo got very personal to an extent. I will say this, though, too. With the AJ Styles and Orton promo, you know, I feel like there were inaccuracies because I forget when he said that Dixie Carter and Styles were hanging out. If it was true that 2005, 2006 is when Dixie took over, I didn't even realize that, to be honest. Because I thought 2005, 2006 was still around the time where TNA was still doing some of their better work. And Carter, I don't believe, had any full position of power other than being an investor until way later. I'm not sure. I didn't really think about it that way. But I'm like, wow, they used her name on the air. I mean, I know they have a certain working relationship right now, but, you know, between that promo and what that match is going to eventually wind up being, which is going to be awesome, then you get the Kofi promo, which was phenomenal too. I don't care if it was scripted or not. That promo was lights out. And, you know, now there's a gauntlet being set up for the next week on SmackDown, which is great. You know, pretty much what you expect. And against top tier talent, to use a gaming reference there slightly, against top tier talent. And now we're going to see if he pulls it off when we get that match at WrestleMania. Takeaway from this week's shows: SmackDown was better than Raw. only because I didn't watch the rest of Raw to make a fair judgment. So if then, oh, you're still saying SmackDown was better anyway, then okay, I'm undecided. But from what I gathered from the hour and a half I watched of Raw to the full 2 hours of SmackDown, I enjoyed SmackDown better. But for a while, let's be fair, it's been the better show than Raw. We'll see what happens post WrestleMania season, but we got a long way to go with that. Speaking of long ways to go, I'm going to take a quick break. Alright, welcome back live to Open Mic Wrestling Night. Again, if you are not listening in the live window, twitch.tv/Calypso426, you can listen to the show live by way of Filling the Void Podcast Network, Spreaker.com/filling_the_void, and which can then be listened to by way of iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Android, which way you find your favorite podcast, Google Play, that's what I meant to say. And now on the line with me at the moment is of PWTorch, and he is the host of the PWTorch VIP show On the Canvas. Please welcome to the show, folks, Zack Heydorn. Zack, how are you doing today?
I am doing fantastic. Thank you very much for having me on the show. I've been looking forward to this for a while, so glad to be here.
Yeah, and I'm happy to have you on, and I'm sure doing your own show, this is not a frequent occasion for you to be discussing pro wrestling on a different perspective and being asked questions for once. So, I'll try and go easy on you.
That sounds good. Yeah, it's funny not to be in the host chair pushing all the buttons and stuff like that. So I'll kick back and you can just fire away.
All right, of course. And okay, so again, we had talked beforehand, and I could talk shop forever with a bunch of people, especially those who are in the media as well, just because for different perspectives. But I narrowed it down to 4, as we had discussed before. And this one I actually came off the top of my head when you asked me, because I'm like, oh, this would be a good discussion point too. Okay, so the way it looks like right now at WrestleMania, it's going to be a lot of multi-person matches. Obviously, the main event. Presumably the main event of the show, Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch taking, and Charlotte Flair for the Raw Women's Championship. Who knows what the WWE Championship's going to be? I'm sure the tag titles are going to have some sort of multi-team, the women's tag, Raw tag, everything else like that. It just seems like there's going to be a lot of multi-person matches. And with that being said, and it's happened quite frequently over the last couple of years, where there's been, we could think of WrestleMania 33, the 4-corner ladder match for the tag titles, and, I can go on forever. I always viewed WrestleMania as like, you work your whole year to get on the card. Now it seems like they're playing the PC card and just bringing everybody in, where the Battle Royal kind of gave them that payday without actually putting them on the main show. Has the I know I'm going to get crap for it. Has the honor of wrestling at WrestleMania kind of faded a little bit? Like, is it like, oh, well, as long as I'm on the roster and being used somewhat on TV, I can get on? Or do you think it's still that big of a deal to the talent who are there?
Well, I think there's